The daily Bitcoin DCA, because fiat currency just ain't the way. It's currently November 14th, 2025. We are sitting at block height 923,673. One Bitcoin will run you about $95,750-ish dollars, and you can get over 1,000 sats for one USD. What a beautiful day. Market cap dipped below a little under 2 trillion, sitting at 1.91 trillion, almost at 95% of the 21 million supply out there in circulation. Fees are low. Hash rate still over 1,000, still looking good. Target block time is still 10 minutes, and we have 21,000 public reachable nodes out there up and running. The network security is still strong, getting stronger. The network is still running flawlessly. Blocks are still being found every 10 minutes. If we come take a look at the extremely overbought, extremely oversold, the Z-score, we are coming down at about 1.52 as price is coming down. We're finally below the 100,000 price range. We see this Z-score coming down. So do we continue to head down towards zero, or do we find some type of support around this area and start to bounce? Time will tell. If we come take a look at the floor, still slowly creeping up, 55,190, just moving along. If we take a look at the technicals, the weekly RSI is cooling off, coming down, headed towards extremely oversold areas. And the fear and greed index is also at extremely fear. So it's nice to see extreme fear at these levels, 95, between the 90,000 and 100,000 price range. That's great. That's a new milestone for price to be at, for the fear and greed index to be at extreme fear at these price points. So that's a great sign. And then everything else is looking like, we might come down a little more in price, find some good support around this area, and then have a nice bounce. And then we also have that futures gap, which I have on the other screen. If we take a look at BITI inverse, running up, filling some of those gaps on the daily chart on the upside. So like I said, this daily is heading towards overbought. So we'll see if we find kind of a ceiling and bounce down on BITI, and then, Bitcoin run up. So we'll see what happens. But as you can see, some of these gaps, we got a lot of gaps up in the 25 range, 20 to 25. There's a lot of gaps on the daily chart. And then if we come take a look at the spreadsheet, here are the recent buys, or today's. Was able to get, let me go back up one. Let's see. Was able to get 1,034 sats. So anytime you can convert out your fiat for over 1,000 satoshis, that's always a good day, because we've seen the struggle bus since I've been doing this on everything being below 1,000. So it's nice to be able to get 1,000 sats again after going so long. I forget how long we were above 100,000. But here's the buys. Got in at 95,547 at the execution price. This is a new low for Bitcoin being contributed versus the value of the holdings is down about 15% in dollar terms. And then if we come take a look at the BITI buys, here was the buy 2166, 3.5 shares. Just got that dividend payment not too long ago. And then this account is up 16% and just stacking along the way. So they've been evening each other out. And once we hit those extremely oversold areas in the 0 on the Z-score, then this entire BITI position will be dumped over into that, and then we'll see what the average price is, how much Bitcoin I'm able to accumulate, and how everything is looking from there. But here's everything. I've been slowly just converting everything into Satoshis just to kind of make everything look a little bit smoother. So I was able to accumulate 1,000 sats. The portfolio is sitting over 58,000 sats. This is the 66 day, 66 total dollars contributed to doing this. The account value in dollar terms is at 55.75. Today is a new low buy. The average cost is also coming down. And then this is the lowest Z-score so far, the lowest RSI so far. And the floor, the 200-week moving average, has just been slowly creeping up. Here how is those, and then BITI, we see how that's going as we head into the weekend. Got it blocked off, can't do no buys, but I'll still do the contributing, and then do my $3 buy on Monday. And then if we take a look, this is Bitcoin futures, BTC1 exclamation is the symbol that you put in. And I mentioned back in May, like May 9th, to Wealth Squad members that we had a gap, a futures gap down below, and most of these gaps have filled. There are a few future gaps that have not been filled further to the downside, but for the most part, majority of future gaps have been filled. If you're not familiar what a gap is, so this is the day chart, and this one candle is for, you can see on the bottom of 22 April of 25. Price closed at 91,660, and then on the next day, price opened up at 93,915, leaving this gap from pretty much close or highs, however you want to look at it, to where lows and open for the next day. So there was a gap because you see price never came back down to where this orange line is at, which is right here. So there was this gap that was created, and as you can see, like right here, this gap was eventually filled. We had a gap July 10th. It took about 2 weeks to fill that gap. And as you can see, there's been other ones here that got filled. Here was one right here. It got filled. Here was a gap right here. It took a few days to get filled. Gap here, a few days to get filled. If we go back in time, here was a gap here. Didn't take long to get filled. There's a gap between these two. Took about a week or two to get filled. So this gap, we've been on a nice, I didn't know. Like I said, it was about the 9th or so is when I alerted Wealth Squad members about the gap. And don't get on too much excitement because, like I said, for the most part, these gaps like to fill. So I didn't know if we were going to reach new all-time highs at this time because, like I said, price was about at 103,000 at the time. I believe the highs was like 123, maybe. It was probably like over, or maybe somewhere a little bit lower than that at the time. So let's see, like 110, I guess, was about the high at the time. And then I was alerting around here. So I didn't know if we were going to come create new all-time highs and then come down to this gap, or if we were going to come down. So I didn't know which was going to happen first. But like I said, most of these, if you go back in time, just spend some time, go back, you'll see there's been a bunch of gaps here on futures, and they have all been filled. This one took a while. So we had this gap 8 November 24. It didn't get filled until April. So about 5 months. And we're kind of about on track, a little bit more than 5 months. But it looks like price wants to come down and fill this futures gap. So we'll, keep an eye on this level. But until then, sticking to the script, converting out your fiat for Bitcoin, stacking up your account, and letting time be in your favor and do the work for you. So stack up Bitcoin and let time do the rest. I'll catch you guys later.